have 3 persons in the house. So, but when the church, when we had a loud explosion, and nothing after the explosion, there was thick smoke and fire followed.
The incident started around 8 o'clock in the morning. My men are the first responders here.
Opposite the pipeline, 2 buildings, 2 school buildings, housing Bethlehem College, Girls College, sank inside, got 2 glass blocks, 2 stones.
You can see the building behind me right now. That brown building, that blue roofed building, is called Bethlehem Girls Secondary School.
Yeah, not good at all. Not good. Not good. It's not a very good incident.
Okay.
Our guys are on ground.
Very sad since then. The Lagos explosion earlier this week is still raising concerns over the state of affairs before and after the explosion by critics, human rights activists and lawyers who are questioning the construction of buildings and placement of residents in a locality that is filled with oil pipelines.
Well, most surprising is the location of the Bethlehem Girls College, Abule Ado, which is badly hit by the blast and reduced to rubbles, with the casualty. Some of the students of the school are still hospitalised.
Well, joining us now is Taiwo Akinlami, a lawyer, a UNICEF consultant and a child rights advocate, who will be discussing the Lagos explosion from the perspective of the Bethlehem School in Abule Ado. Welcome to the morning show here on Horizon.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
I mean, the very unfortunate circumstances that we are meeting under today. However, I mean, just to even reiterate, we had an Arroy's correspondent on scene yesterday, and they confirmed that besides Bethlehem School, there are actually 5 other schools in that area. So what does that mean for these children? Because, I mean, there is this talk back and forth between, you know, Lagos State and NNPC and the residents. But these children had no part to play in this. What does this mean for them?
Well, the first thing I want to say is that in all of this matter, truth is lacking. I have been to the scene of the in-law, we call it locus inco. I've been there, and I've seen things for myself. One major thing that is happening today is beyond the fact that you locate a school around a pipeline. It's about what actually happened. It's about, was it an explosion? Was it a bomb blast? If you ask everybody around that place, the preponderance of opinion from speaking to landlords, speaking to people who experienced it, was that it couldn't have been an explosion. It must have been a bomb planted in that place. And when I visited the scene, when you look at the vehicle that was said to have caused this this havoc,
The truck.
The truck was not on the pipe, was not on that open area. Now, a safety officer who was involved in the evacuation made me to understand that that pipe is 6 feet down. For you to get into the pipe, you need to use a ladder. So how does somebody trying to push a truck cause explosion? Now, that is a symposium discussion, and that is why we think, my own opinion is that we cannot do things like this. If it is that we are under attack, we need to know. So that if we know that we're under attack, what is the target? Is it the Catholic Church? Is it the schools? Is it the building? What exactly is the issue? It is important for us to know. Until we know that, and I think if we don't look in that direction, we may just be beating around the bush. Now, in the first instance, if we now take it from a pipeline close to a school, now there are places where you cannot situate a school. You cannot situate a school close to a sawmill, for example, because you're going to burn sawdust and it may affect children, may panic. Number 2, you can't relocate a school towards a place where you cannot guarantee the safety of children. Now, the question is, who located the school in that place? Who gave approval for the location of the school? And if the school is there, what measures are in place in terms of fire drill, in terms of lockdown drill, in terms of all of these things? Now, if you see the videos that we saw and what we heard when we went to that place, we saw that children panicked and they were running around the streets. Now, the real emergency there was not the incident. It is the lack of preparedness of the state, of the school, and everybody involved. That is what escalated the situation. And I must tell you, there's a man called Oloni, I think he's in charge of NEMA in Lagos State. Osoyintolu, I listened to him. All he's doing, all that man is doing, is to be defending the position of the Lagos State government. People died. I've not heard a word of commiseration, a word of empathy, sympathy for those who lost their lives. And I think when we don't learn from this kind of...
Special Duties did that on day one.
But he is directly responsible for this operation. All he's telling us is that people are responsible. People built houses. I see people just get to a place and build houses.
Not holding brief for Soyitolu. Yes. He did commiserate with lives lost.
Well, I didn't hear him do that.
Maybe you didn't see that.
I didn't hear him do that because I listened to, you know, there's a particular TV station that did, in their 10 o'clock news, they invited him. And I listened, I actually videoed it, you know, because I listened to him from the beginning. He began by saying, I don't think there are many times too much to commiserate with people, to issue statements of condolence, at least to, as a human being who has feeling and who have children. I didn't hear him do that in that interview. He might have done that, but he might have done that in other interviews, but it's never too much for you to start with that. What I see is a cover-up, and what I think is that's why I've issued a press statement, and we are writing to the Lagos State government. We're asking for a commission of inquiry. We need to know what happened. We need to know the danger our children are, the siege under our children are under. And if it's just pipeline explosion, if that is the case, then we need to find out who approved that school and other schools in that area to exist in that place.
But a task force, sort of like a task force, have been set up already.
Yes.
To look at the remote effects, the remote causes, beg your pardon, and consequences this will bring.
Yes.
A step was taken further to set up a fund, a 2 billion fund, which a lot of people still think it's a far cry, but better late than never.
Yes.
For what a good way to start.
Yes.
And so we have this too. The community too is having their own stars. We had Barrister Hassan come here yesterday to speak, you know, on behalf of the community. The community will be looking at this. So we have a multiplicity of forums trying to look into this.
Yes.
Where do we see synergy here? Why can't everybody work together as regards, you know, directing their attention, you know, to this?
No, this is the problem. This is the issue. When there's no sincerity to solve a problem, you think those, I'm sorry to say, you think those in government are losing sleep over this matter? I don't think so. You know, there is a way you have to, there's a way things are done.
You sure about that?
No. When
you sure they're not losing sleep?
I'm just looking at antecedents of those in government, those who govern us. I'm looking at antecedents, the way they do things. Chibok girls were kidnapped. That day that the children were kidnapped, 7 trucks, report now has it, 7 trucks came to that place to kidnap those girls. In the process of taking those girls away, some of them escaped. Now, there was supposed to be JTF. A WAEC was supposed to be taking place. So the new children were there. And we called for a public inquiry. Till today, nobody has the facts as to what happened there. Apart from the drama, we saw the First Lady then, you know, 2 teachers, there is God, and all of that. Now, when there's no precedent of how we solve problems, this is the kind of situation we face. Now, if...
let me come in here and put it to you very strongly.
Okay,
Let's not distort the facts.
Okay.
The Chibok girls and Abule Ado are two
now,
different... hang on a minute.
Yes.
2 different occurrences. And I'm going to put it to you.
Yes.
Number first, the Chibok girls, it took the government of the day days to even acknowledge that the girls were kidnapped. But this one, you had a state government that was there on day 2. How do you deny this? No, hang on a minute. You had a state government that was there on day 2, instituted all of this paraphernalia, and I'm saying the synergy at which you're working with them. You're bringing in Chibok girls.
No, but can I tell you, I'm giving you an example of how a nation solves problems.
State government, that's a national government.
No, it's the same.
How?
There's no PDP, there's no APC, there's no state government, there's no federal government. The Nigerian government is one, because there is a class issue between the have-not and the have, between the poor and the rich. That is the issue. Now, this is why I'm bringing Chibok girl. There's a way we solve problem here. Now, you have not told us, you have not told us what the problem is. What is the cause of the problem? You want to set up 2 billion, you set up 2 billion trust fund. You are setting up a tax force. Now, this is the issue. Has anybody proven to us? I've been there. I went to the place. I saw things for myself. I interviewed. I didn't know I would be invited for this program when I went there. I didn't go there for the purpose of this program because I'm an interested person. Yeah. I left everything I was doing to be there to see things for myself. I don't want to read from the newspaper. Everywhere things had happened because of my interest, I go there to see things for myself. Now, this is the point. The point I'm making is this. I'm letting you see the attitude of government towards the governed. Itafaji, what has happened now? I was there. I saw things for myself. Now, a school also existed in that place, and that place crumbled. The question is, who gave, and that place had been marked for demolition for months, and the school was existing there. Who was supposed to be in charge? Nobody went to jail. Nobody was arrested. Nobody was tried. In a same climb, some people will be answering questions. Now, who gave, okay, it was pipeline explosion. There's pipeline, and a school is located. It's not up to like 300 meters from where the pipeline passed through, and a school is located there. Who gave the license for that? Who gave the approval for that school to be located in that place?
Who gave the approval?
So, that's the question. Now you talk about you talk about the Ministry of Education. You talk about the Ministry of Environment. You talk about SUBEB and all of these organizations, regional planning, urban and regional planning, where now all of these guys, then the people who are representing that state, that area in the House of Assembly, where were they when all of this, when the school is situated there? Is it like coronavirus that all of a sudden pipeline landed? After the pipeline landed, then the school landed, and everybody is in quandary. We don't know what we are doing. What I'm letting you see is this. The children in that place, they are the children of house of wood and drawers of water, the children of the oi polloi. Now, if the children of the rich are in that place, you can't even find them there. You can't even find them there. So my anger today, when I went to that place, I was livid. Because I'm asking myself the critical question. I'm asking myself...
You say Bethlehem Girls' School is for the children of the poor?
Well,
can you corroborate that?
No, we'll go on a quick break.
We'll come back and talk some more.
Join us again here on The Morning Show. Welcome back. You're still watching The Morning Show here on the Rise News. Well, as a recovery operation continues at Abule Ado, residents and survivors of the devastating blast that claimed the lives of several persons and destroyed property worth millions of dollars early in the week. Well, residents are yet to come to terms with the gore incident. And let's take a look at this report by our senior correspondent Tokumbo Yetunji on the baby called Favor. Yes, recovered by the Nigerian Red Cross Society.
The day after the devastating explosion, what exactly led to it still remains a mystery, with many theories flying around. But the narrative from the authorities remains that the incident resulted from an explosion caused by this truck that was discharging some of its contents. The result is death and destruction to several property in a very wide range from the scene, with official casualty figure put at 17 on day 1. On day 2, recovery operations still continued, with 3 more bodies recovered from under the rubble. But family and friends whose relatives are still missing are demanding more from the authorities.
We ask of all well-meaning individuals and government to come to our aid. A whole lot of us are homeless. My baby is just a month old. I don't even know where to take them to. She's very tender and not strong enough to withstand all this. Our homes are gone. A lot of us are properties, some their documents, not to talk of their lives that are lost. There is a lot of aspersion as to the result of whether it's a fire outbreak or it's a bomb blast. But vividly, my experience tells me in this area I've witnessed pipeline vandalization about twice. It's just the fire that you will see. There's been nothing like an explosion of this magnitude. You see Bethlehem Secondary School, they are all gone. They are all gone. So the case need to be looked into. If we are facing maybe it's a terror threat or a bomb blast, or if it's the pipeline explosion as they want to make us believe.
Many more whose property were damaged are here and can be seen bemoaning their fates and wondering where to start life from again despite the promise by the state government to put up a 2 billion naira relief fund for them.
We are pleading on the government to send us some hands so that it can help us out. So the thing affected so many places, both inside the trade fair where we also trade. Okay. It also affected us. All my houses, all my properties, everything. If you look down there, you see most of us, up to 200 buildings here are affected. Both my brothers, my younger ones that owns properties here as well, affected. It affected so many people here, and most of my friends lost their life. Like you can see some bruises on my body, so I sustained some injury because the blast was so much. Even all my roof, the glasses on my house, even the front elevator, everything break down. There are a lot of people underground there, under their building. So many, this one you are seeing along the road, it's just very few. If you go in right inside, discover that there are some buildings where you people cannot even cover because there are more than 150 houses around here that the thing affected. You can only see within here about 60 or 70 houses. So when you go down there, you discover some people are still under under the building, helpless.
Amidst the story of gloom is that of baby Favor, who was found all alone here shortly after the explosion on Sunday by emergency responders. Although she's alone as her mother was fatally injured in the incident, but according to the Red Cross officials who have her in their custody, she's a bright side of the story of the Abule Ado explosion.
Nobody came to look for this girl since yesterday.
So she's been with you since?
She's been with us, but as of last night, about 10 p.m., we had to inform the commissioner of police who was on ground then, and he handed over to the DPO of a police station very close. And then the commissioner said, we have where we can keep her, if not, let the police take. And we have a motherless and abandoned baby home with us at Makoko. So we said we have, and we took her there overnight. We took care of her. We got her dressed, and she's fine.
As at Monday evening, recovery operations are still ongoing, and some of those who haven't heard from their loved ones since the incident are hoping that somehow their friends, colleagues, or neighbors can still be found well and alive. Tokumbo Oyetunji, Arise News, Lagos.
Well, just to point out that was day 2, so that was Monday when baby Favor was recovered, and with the Red Cross, her mom is recuperating. Mr. Akinlami, the story of Favor just gives you light in darkness at a moment like this. But as a child rights advocate, what are the likely impacts of such an incident in Abule Ado on a child like Favor, on children like those from Bethlehem College and other schools affected? What should we be doing as a government, as school authorities, as parents, as the media, as advocates, and the society in general for these children?
Well, we are not built for trauma. That's why we begin to talk about things like traumatic disorder, post-traumatic disorder. And even matured minds who have seen a lot in life are not able to cope with some of the unfavorable events in life. And so, not to talk of children who are just understanding life. And so we can say without blinking, without too much research, that it's going to have unusual impact on those children. I've experienced armed robbery attack before, and it took me years, to get over. I'm not sure I've even gotten over it. It took me years to get over that gruesome experience of being in the hand of robbers for like 30, 45 minutes, which is the longest 45 minutes of my life, not to talk of children. What we should be doing now is that there should be psychosocial support for those children. We must not take it for granted that they are okay, even when they appear to have gotten over it. Nightmares, a lot of issues that they are going to be dealing with. So beyond returning them back to school, and if you go to that place, the school is in rubbles. I mean, the only building starting, the only building still standing is the hostel. And every other, there's an effort now leveling down everywhere and all of that. So I don't know which day the school is even going to come alive, as it is.
Who will even pay for it?
I know he's going to pay for it, maybe out of the 2 billion, support. So for me, we don't, and the issue here in this part of the world, such services are not readily available. Social services of psychosocial support, seeing a child psychology and all of that, therapy and all of that, is not readily available. And when they are available, they are very, very expensive. So it is important that we begin to look in that direction. Even when the children are still at home, there has to be a way we can reach them, talk to them, because they witnessed that, and the earlier we reach them, the better. Because the more the more we sleep on it and time lapses, the more the children, begin to are not able to recover on time. It's like you have a wound that you don't treat. It will fester. And so, and it's a good question you have asked, because I don't think it's an area we are looking at the moment. All that we're looking at is other things that may not be directly affecting the children. But again, you see, in 2016, the Lagos State government, under the former governor, promulgated an executive order in furtherance to the Child Rights Law of Lagos State. And this executive order makes it mandatory for every school, everywhere children are gathered, to have a child protection policy. I was privileged to work with the Lagos State government in developing that policy. And no sooner than we developed that policy, I was also privileged to be appointed into the committee that was supposed to see the implementation of the policy. Now, that was in 2016. The committee met for the first time in 2017. And the question I asked at the level of the committee is to say, excuse me, you've promulgated this, we've worked on this beautiful policy. Now, it's important for me to also state that I did that job for the Lagos State government pro bono. I didn't earn one naira from it.
Because we have about 40 seconds to go.
Yes.
In that policy, perhaps did you put in place evacuation drills for schools?
You see, this policy is all encompassing because it's for many, it's multifaceted. It's multi-level, looking at everywhere children are gathered. So the idea was for schools to take those policies and you implement it and domesticate it according to your needs. But this is the point I want to make. We met for the first time in 2017. And the question I asked, you have a beautiful policy. How are we going to implement it? No budget. I had the privilege of being with the governor.
Unfortunately, that's the much we can take, Mr. Akinlami. Policy, but the problem is always implementation, which is very sad, but that's the much we can take this morning. Thank you so much for coming. And you're very passionate about the subject, and we do appreciate that.